it's Lauren. Welcome back to another edition of Reading Time. This is something that I meant to do last Friday, but life is super complicated, so I'm doing catch up tonight. So let's get going. Hey, it's me, Lauren. So we're still reading Shadow Chaser. Of course, knowing me, I'll have the extra letter in the name, but that's okay on my screen. But yeah, we're still reading this. This is a gift for my nephew. I just haven't given it to him yet because I'm having too much fun. And I'm trying to remember where we last left off. I'm trying to remember. Okay. So more or less, okay, I try to remember the story. Give me a sec. So the story is, I'm home. There's a knock on my door. I answer. I get kidnapped. I'm on a horse-drawn wagon kind of thing. It's all creepy stuff. And then the circus came along, and I'm trying to use that as the advantage to escape. I'm trying to escape, and suddenly my rest of my kidnappers are riding it fast. So turn to page 29. That's where I'm at. Or turn to 29 section. So let's see what 29 is. I've got points I'm keeping track of, but it's all good. So let's get to the thing. "Protect the child!" yells the ringmaster as Half Harlan leaps from the cart. One of the circus giants catches him by the ankles and hurls him towards the oncoming kidnappers, but their pale leader holds up his hand and somehow deflects him away without even touching him. He lands in a heap by the forest's edge. I can't read! And his weapon clatters to the ground near your feet. You pick it up as the two sides clash. In the confusion, an acrobat flips gracefully over the cart and cuts your bonds. "Run for the forest, little one," she whispers. "Quick." Well, I should have whispered, sorry. You keep low and have almost gained the trees when someone steps into your path. It's your captor. You yell at him to get out of your way. He's unarmed. "I can't let you go," he replies quietly and takes a step towards you. You have no choice but to fight. Add Half Harlan's weapon flint to your logbook. So I've been keeping track. This is a book that you gotta keep track of what the heck's going on. Oh, and I got a puzzle here. What did this say? To my logbook. Weapon. I have a flint. Okay. So let's turn the page. Oh, looks like we got a battle. Okay, so 3 rounds. If I win, damage 1. I forgot how to play. Shoot. So we need some dice. I don't remember how to play. Okay, let's recap. Oh my goodness. I've been off and on reading this for a couple of weeks. Okay, so I'm supposed to write down its defense bonus in my logbook. I don't know what the defense bonus is, to be honest. Oh, it does tell you if you can use it. Wow, I am scattered tonight. Combat, here we go. Rolling 2 dice. So I'm about to do a combat. The enemy has 2 thingies. The skulls are my opponents. The aim is to cross them all out within a certain... Okay, so I got 3 rounds to get rid of 2 skulls. Just trying to remember how this goes. One moment. Wow. So I need to roll 7 or more for the dice. Let's get some dice going. Dice roller. So 2 plus 4 is 6. Okay. So I lose a damage. I have 12 lives. I lost 1. So let's roll again. 5 plus 4 is 9. He loses a damage. So we did 1 round. 2 rounds. I'm at 11. He's at 1. I know my handwriting's horrible. 5 plus 3. That's 8. So that's the 3rd round. I'm still at 11. They're at 0. So I win. I go to 66. Okay, now we figured out the dice game. I am half awake. Your captor sighs as he falls to the floor. It's better, he whispers. You step back as he puts his hand inside his tunic, but it emerges with a small white flower. Please take this. It only grows near my town far away from here. Wear it, and if you meet half Harlan, give it to him. I thought you were half Harlan, you say. He smiles sadly. There were 2 halves to Harlan. His eyes close, taking the flower. You run for the forest. Turn to 317 and add white flower to my logbook. So, at this point, I got my life points, 11, and then I got items, white flower. Okay. So now I gotta go to 317. Let's also check what time it is, because I got lots of stuff to do tonight. But I decided to come on, do a little bit of reading here. I'll get better with practice. Okay, 317. Branches claw and brambles clutch, but you don't slow down until the cries have faded to nothing. Only then do you stop and look around. You're in Gloamwood Forest. This place has a sinister reputation. Mothers say to their children, if you don't behave, I'll leave you for the old lady of the woods to find, and that will be the end of you. Even seasoned travelers won't set foot in the forest after dark. And there I am after dark. And yet here you are. And yet here you are, lost and exhausted. Go figure. You stumble on until you come across a tree standing slightly apart from the rest. Its thick trunk is knotted and gnarled, and clear water has pooled in a hollow between its roots. You're about to scoop some to your lips when you hear a quick, high-pitched voice by your side. I wouldn't do that if I were you, or would I? You look down in surprise to see an impish creature of curly red hair and pointy ears. There's a teasing smile on her lips. You ask her what she means. If I were me, I know what to do, but if I were you, I don't suppose I would. She cocks her head and shrugs. If you want to ignore this annoying creature and quench your thirst, turn to 392. If you decide not to take a drink, 179. I'm going to not take a drink. You ask if the water is poisoned, the leaves above you rustle, and the imp chuckles. I wouldn't think so, my sweet, then why? She cocks her head to one side and points at the tree. Because you haven't asked. Oh. You turn towards the tree, and the strangest thing happens. Its top branches bend down, almost like it's nodding. You glance around to make sure that no one else is watching and then quietly ask for a drink. A single leaf falls from a branch and lands in a little pool of water. That means yes, the imp trills. Old Man Tree saves that water for the birds and the beasts of the forest, but will always be generous to those who ask nicely. Her words falls lower. Of course, not everybody does ask nicely. She points at the round knots that sprout like boils from the tree's trunk. In each one you see a face, a wooden carving of despair. Now, why don't you tell me what you're doing all alone this deep in the forest? You drink a handful of cool, clear water and begin your story. Add 2 life points and then turn to 20. Alright. 20, so life. I gotta say 13. I might be cheating. You tell her everything that's happened since you were awoken so suddenly in the night. She sits cross-legged on the mossy ground, her chin cupped in her hands, and stays that way long after you've finished your story. High above, a crow calls. You clear your throat and she stirs. Tell me, sweetie, did you happen to see the boy's shadow, I wonder, before he died? You ask her what she means. Oh, don't take no notice of me, my love. Silly rumors reach those whose ears are closer to the ground. She smiles and leaps to her feet. The name's Nettle, by the way, and you're lost, yes? Well, I can show you the way out of here. The only other choice... Her voice tails off, and you beg her to finish what she was going to say. Well, you could try to find the old lady of the forest. She doesn't take kindly to strangers, but she sees and hears all that happens in these parts. If anyone can make sense of your story, it's her. Whether she'd want to, she grins and shrugs. If you like to search for the old lady of the forest, tune 219. If you like to get back to Helmsgard quickly as possible, 421. I'd say 219, because let's find out what the heck is going on. Alright, I wasn't sure if that was double-sided paper or one-sided, because I got so much scraps papers. Okay, 219. Nettle nods slowly and points down a path that leads even deeper into the forest. Ancient trees hem it on either side, with only the odd shard of sunlight piercing the gloom. Did I mention she was old? She asks. She was old when Old Man Tree was just a sapling. Compared to her, we're alive for the blink of an eye. If she takes an interest, she'll give you a chance to meet her. But watch your step, because she likes her little games. Yes, she does. If you like to set off along the path, turn to 81. If you like to change your mind and return to Helmsgard, turn to 421. If you'd like to ask Nettle to come with you to meet the old lady of the forest, turn to 202. I'm going to say 202. Because please, give me a guide here. This is a little scary. Goodness me, no, the old lady doesn't like crowds. You go alone or not at all. Nettle grips your arm. But a word of advice, sometimes the true path is hidden in plain sight. To find the old lady, first you have to see her. Yes? Really see her. If you like to set off to find the old lady, turn to 81. If you like to return to Helmsgard, 421. You just want to do that. Return. Okay, so go 81. There's 80. There's 81. Here we go. You look down the path that leads to the old lady. When you turn back, Nettle has disappeared. Taking a deep breath, you set off. The ancient trees are twisted into strange shapes, and somehow you feel them watching as you pass. There's no bird song or even a breath of wind to stir the branches. Then a cry up ahead shatters the silence. You round the bend and come across the fork in the path. On the right-hand path, you see the source of the cry. It's Nettle calling and beckoning you to follow her. She's eating an apple from a nearby tree. The ground around her is dappled with sunlight. The left-hand path heads even deeper into the forest. The trees are dark and leafless, and ravens brood silently on the branches. Look closely at the picture opposite. So there she is. If you try to take the left path, turn to 412. If you want to follow Nettle down the right path, turn to 70. So it's asking to look at the picture. I'm going to go 70 because I feel like Nettle is the old lady. Alright. So here's where things don't go well. With a sigh of relief, you run towards Nettle and ask if you're nearly there. She smiles, but there's something about her smile that doesn't look right. It makes her look older somehow. Nearly where, child? She laughs, and the sound stops you in your tracks. I'm everywhere. The voice is hard and cold and old. Suddenly you see what you missed. Yep. The path you're running down, the caves in the rock face next to Nettle, they form the image of a skull. The old lady has played her game, and you have lost. Nettle disappears. She was never there, and the ground opens up and swallows you whole. Your only chance of survival is to scramble up the roots before you're buried alive. Okay. We're gonna die. Holy crap. Suddenly. Roll 1 dice 3 times. After every roll, add your endurance level. For each roll under 8, deduct 2 life points. If you survive, turn to 121. Okay, so. I got a question for myself. So that's interesting. A dice has 6 sides, but each roll under 8 deduct 2 points. So we already know how this is going to go. So I lose 6 points, according to this. So that's 6 and 6. So I have 7 life points. Now, and then 121. It's the next page. That's interesting. I had to think that through for a sec. Coughing and sputtering, your throat choked with soil, you clamber clear of your open grave. Laughter floats through the forest, but this time with a note of warmth. The trees part to reveal a wide clearing bathed in sunlight. You see a hunched figure wrapped in a shawl, drawing up water from a well. Turn to 386. So I survived. You approach slowly, and all the time the figure in the shell hauls the bucket up from the well. Round and round the wheel squeaks. Are you the old lady of the forest? You ask. I was told to find you, that you could help me. With a dull clank, the bucket reaches the top. The figure lifts it to the ground, and you look for a face under the shell, but see none. An arm extends and points to the bucket. At first, all you can see is the blue sky reflected in the water. Then clouds start to gather, even though there are none overhead. They form the face of a young girl. Do you think I should look my age? The face asks with a voice that sounds like rustling of leaves. You open your mouth, but the water shivers as the face turns to a skull. I know your story. I know more than you know. So listen to me. There's a new magic gathering on the borders of Arkandale. It threatens the old magic. It will overrun the kingdom and destroy my forest. See what awaits. You lean closer as Helmsgaard appears in the water. Prisoners are being carted through the streets. You see old Joe's face pressed against the bars. The ramshackle astronomer's tower has gone, and in its place looms a tower of black stone. A huge furnace is fed by an unending stream of trees, and ancient gloam wood is cut to stumps. The face reappears. Go back to Helmsgaard and find Medoc, the map maker. It was he who left you on the carpenter's doorstep. and he who has what you need. Go to the market wearing this, and you will meet him there. The shrouded figure hands you a silver bracelet with a green stone, then points to the path that's appeared to the trees. Add silver bracelet to your logbook. If you decide to take the path 237, if you want to ask the old lady of the forest why she tried to trick you, if she needs your help, turn to 155. I'm going to go 237. Alright. We'll finish up shortly. Almost at once, you find yourself at the forest's edge. You turn around in surprise, but the path has disappeared. When you finally walk back through Helmsgaard's east gate, the sun is in your eyes, and Owen, the gatekeeper, has been replaced by the afternoon shift. You don't recognize the new guard, and there's something unnerving about the way he looks at you, but he lets you pass unhindered. If you like to visit the market straight away, turn to 331. If you first like to report your attempted kidnapping to the city guard, 200. If you'd like to go back to the workshop and see if old Joe has returned, turn to 377. I'm going to go 331. Because that was the instructions. The traders are hawking at the last of their wares as you enter the square. A rough voice rises above the dim. Don't delay, ladies and gentlemen. The shadow lengthens and the winter's nearly upon us. The trader holds up a fur coat so thick that it looks like the bear's still inside. Beside him, a clockmaker sits hunched at his stall. His inventions are spread out, and one of them tolls the hour, 2 miniature skeletons jerking into life to ring a silver bell. It seems to be the signal for the traders to pack up their stalls. You quicken your pace, looking for the map maker you were told would be here. As you head towards the far side of the market, the stalls become shabbier and the crowds thinner. Your hand moves to the silver bracelet. What was it for? You look down and let out a quiet gasp. The green stone is glowing. You clasp your hand to your wrist, and then you see something at the corner of your eye. A stall you hadn't noticed before, covered in shabby drapes. Inside, something glows. Something glows green. You duck under the drapes and find a man with bright gray eyes and gray hair. He holds up the wrist, and you see a bracelet like yours. You look around and see maps rolled in map spread. They're looking for you, he says in a low voice and points across the square. A city guard is moving quickly through the crowd. We must go. He rolls up the maps and loads them into a pack that he slings across his back. Together you leave for the square. 355. Mad Doc leads you to an old cottage on the edge of town. It stands a little apart from the newer houses that have been built nearby, and its thatched roof looks out of place next to their slate tiles. This used to be a woodman's cottage, he says, bolting the door and lighting a lamp. Night has fallen, and moonlight shines off the wet cobbles outside. He closes the curtains and hangs up his cloak. On the way to the cottage, you told him all that's happened, and now he's strangely quiet. He pulls 2 seats in front of the kitchen range and stokes the fire. Only when you have a steaming bowl of stew and your boots are drying on the hearth, does he sigh and break his silence. Add 1 life point. And then 416. So I'm going to call it a night. And then 416. I'm going to call it a night. Alright, friends. That was fun. I'm enjoying this book. It's really cool. It's a really big book to get through. And you choose your own adventures and have fun. So yeah, I highly recommend it. And Usborne sells these. I should check if it's still available. That might be a good idea, kitty. Let's talk about a book that's no longer available. I'll tell you in a sec. And then my little doodle boo needs a mommy. I have 2 doodles now. Doodle, 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 doodle. Shadow. When I learn how to spell. Yep, still available, and this book is only $11.95, and that's a steal of a deal, to be honest. That's a really good price. Alright, friends, I got to go. Hope you had fun. See you soon.